Good deal. But yeah, this is a shorter
What's
one.
up and welcome to Bucked Up, Possibly Entertainment's post-game Bucks podcast. I'm your host, Nick Schneider. That's your host, John Monk. John, you were at the game tonight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to see that.
It really stung.
It hurts. It hurts.
terrible.
And we're recording this at 1 in the morning after John got all the way back from Milwaukee
Wausau.
to Wausau. First, a couple housekeeping things. If you don't like watching your podcast, it's totally understandable. We're now on iTunes, Google Play, Audio Boom, Soundcloud, and Pocketcast. So links in the description for those if you'd rather listen to us, or if you have a friend who would rather listen to an audio podcast and you want to share it with them. Link in the description below. John, before the game, going into the game, what are your thoughts of the court, the overall atmosphere, the way the Bucks handled it?
Going into the arena was unbelievable. I forgot about that experience because there's only one side of the arena you can walk in. There's only those doors.
Yeah.
It was packed.
Sure.
Like you couldn't move.
A lot of energy, I bet.
Oh yeah, people were excited. There was no
Excited
room.
to see nothing.
Me and my girlfriend, we were trying to find the pro shop. We couldn't find it. It was too packed. We walked around. We said, "Screw this. We're gonna go to our seats."
Well, it's the Panther Arena now.
The Panther Arena, yeah, but we couldn't move.
UW Milwaukee Panthers.
So we just went up to our seats, and
How many people does it sit now? 11,000?
just under 10,000 something.
Wow.
Sold out crowd, they said, which I did not see an open seat.
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. The game is on TNT tonight, and so I was at home watching it. Couple things. Obviously, Kyrie talked about how he had trouble on the court. He also thinks the earth is flat, so I'm just going to stop listening to Kyrie interviews unless they're funny like this one was.
I'm all about safety, so see how it is on my knees, see how it is on everyone's bodies. I know that this is a pretty older court. Looks like it's fresh painted as well, so I'm just going to do my assessment and go from there.
It's a new court. They built it new.
Yeah. It took me 3 steps to realize that this is not the same NBA court that I'm used to playing on. So we'll see what's up.
The floor looks spectacular on TV. Really bright, like you were saying. I'm sure it was more so in person.
Oh yeah, I walked into my seat and wow.
How were your seats?
Honestly, I mean, good.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because you usually have lower on the upper deck season tickets.
Third row in the corner there. Yeah.
Right. So so the seats were good all around. You think probably?
Yeah, they weren't even. They were more towards the center than the corner.
Okay.
And third row on the 400 level, but there's only 10,000 seats, so you're lower than what.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Awesome. And actually, I think for the whole game, but even during the pregame, I think Charles Barkley, of all people, did a really, really great job covering the game tonight. And usually, I'm not a big Charles Barkley guy, but I think tonight he had a good night, and there were a few things to pull out of that. Charles said he sent a text to Giannis before the game.
Barkley did.
Yeah, which is a cool little moment. I don't know how accurate it is, but probably accurate. I believe I don't have any reason to distrust him, which is awesome. A lot of good things to say about just the people of Milwaukee and stuff. And then he said, and we don't really have to spend a lot of time talking about this, but he said, and I quote, "In all sports, it's important to remember your heritage." And I agree with that, and I think that's why this is so important. And it sucks that we're not going to be able to get it again, because the Bucks people like to forget about the Bucks' great past because of the recent past and how much we struggled and were boring to watch and not fun under Herb Cole. And we like to forget about 70s, 80s, how great we really were. I would argue that the Bucks have way more of a history than the Brewers. The Brewers just do a much better job of keeping their fans interested. I do think it's important that we remember what it means to be a Buck.
Yeah,
the
definitely.
history of the franchise, first expansion team, and just stuff like that. So starting off the game, I had a lot of concerns right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Chris seemed over-aggressive again.
Again, right away.
Really over-aggressive, and this is one thing I want to hit on tonight, is the stats. If you didn't see the game, and you go back tomorrow and you look at the stats, they're not going to look that bad. But context is very important. Okay, so Chris Middleton, give me his field goals.
Actually, well, 7 for 16, which ain't awful.
It's not awful.
1
And he
for
had a
3 from deep.
15-point game. Yeah. You look at that and you're going to think, fine game for Chris Middleton. He's the reason we were playing from behind the whole game. There was a stretch where he took maybe 6 contested shots in a row.
I thought he got better later on in the game, if I remember
Sure, when he
correctly
stopped
again,
forcing
but
things. And this has been a trend, though, the last few games, is Chris
Pretty much every
Middleton's
game
trying to find
he is.
himself.
Yeah.
And so he's taking every shot early in the shot clock, contested shots, to start off the game. And it's putting us in a hole. And today, when Giannis doesn't have it like he usually does,
Oh, they were
it
keen on
hurt.
Giannis, huge.
Right,
tonight,
exactly.
yeah.
And he didn't have it tonight.
No,
I don't
he
know
didn't.
what it is. He just couldn't play the way he usually does. And I don't think that that's a knock on him. I don't think it's a harbinger of what's to come. But I do think that tonight a lot was riding on his shoulders, and he did fail.
He led the team in every statistic again, though.
Yep, he did.
His stat sheet is still
He's the best player on the court
tremendous.
whenever he's on the court.
28
But
points.
we needed him. That was a winnable game. That was a game, even in the fourth, that you need to go out and grab. And he couldn't do it. Not that it needs to be required of him to do, but that's a game that if you want to be talked about with a LeBron James, with a Kevin Durant, with a Steph Curry, that's what even Kawhi Leonard, that's what those guys go and do. A game that's within
what a star
reach,
does, yeah.
they go and grab it before anyone else can. And he just couldn't do it tonight. And I don't think that it's without reach to do it. He did it in the Blazers game, but tonight he came out flat. There were some stupid fouls. The first quarter, the first flagrant against Tony Snell was stupid.
Because that's a new rule this year now, because they switched that last year when Kawhi got injured, right?
Right.
That's
right.
a new rule.
I don't know how new it is, because I remember even people getting called on Kobe with that kind of stuff. So I'm not 100% sure on that.
I know they talked about it at some point, but I don't know the
there might be new implications and stuff when it comes to the rule, but
that's what I was thinking when it happened. That's the only. I don't know how.
But it's stupid. There's
it's
no
very
better way to
stupid.
contest that shot.
How are you supposed to?
Tony Snell, if you're going to contest that shot, there's no other way to do it. So that call was ridiculous.
I thought so too.
If you missed the game, Tony Snell contested on a Jason Tatum 3. Jason Tatum landed on his foot, but Jason Tatum jumped forward maybe 2 feet and landed on his foot, and he was called for a flagrant for it. Which I don't agree with, but it is
I don't even think
probably
it should be a
even
foul.
the correct. I don't think so either.
It probably
is
the
probably
correct
the correct
call.
call when it comes to the rule book.
I'm
but then
fine with that
later in the
call.
game, there was another flagrant. Or no, it was a technical. I'm sorry. On Liggins.
Oh yeah,
Liggins
that
got
was
a
in the
steal.
second quarter.
Liggins got a great steal.
Blockers.
Or maybe it was a block actually. And the Celtic player fell over. And Liggins he glared at him. He did glare at him. And the refs called a technical. And that's the one thing that I will say tonight. And I don't think the refs ever decide a game, because they don't. You have to play within what the refs are doing. They don't decide games. But they ruined any kind of flow we had on offense, at least for the first half.
There was 2 huge calls that ruined our flow in the fourth quarter.
Momentum changing, and that's true in the fourth.
One
as well.
was on Giannis, which they called a charge on Giannis.
Oh, that wasn't. See, they actually even said on the broadcast, everyone in the arena thinks that's a charge call on Giannis. It wasn't. Moose set an illegal screen, and it was very obvious. Okay.
Oh, they
so in
called
the fourth. Yep. Moose.
Well, at the arena they said charge on Giannis.
I think they might have gotten it confused, because it was absolutely an illegal screen on Moose, and it was very obvious illegal screen on Moose.
Well,
so that was a correct call. What was the other one you were talking about?
Well, they missed a block when because I think you should call it both ways. They missed a block in Kyrie when Giannis was carrying it up the court. They completely missed a block call. This is at some point in the fourth quarter, and then
they miss blocks all the time, though.
Yeah, but then on the next possession down, they called a block on the Bucks for the same exact thing.
That's interesting. I'd have to go back and look at the tape.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember that. That was one of the few things I remember. But no, I didn't know that was a Moose call, because they announced it at the arena, and every fan there was pissed.
Oh, they were angry. You could hear it right over the TV.
No, I did not know that.
Other first quarter notes: Delly hit his first floater, or his second floater of the year.
I do also have to say,
so maybe we were wrong about the Delly floaters. Go ahead.
You miss a few things at the Panther Arena with blind spots.
Really?
Well, if someone gets up anywhere, you can't see.
Right, because everyone's so tightly packed.
Yeah, so you're
arena.
always,
Sure. It's the way it used to be. It's the best way.
I'm just, I've missed a few things tonight.
Sure. Right. Malcolm had a fantastic game.
He
we
was
can get
against
into
Kyrie. I thought he did great again.
We can get into later, I think, the implications, but Malcolm is the second best player on this team right now, and he's not getting the kind of touches that the second best player should get. Chris Middleton, if he's going to continue to struggle like this until he finds himself again, I would happy for half of his touches to go right to Malcolm Brogdon, because with his new and improved handle, the way he's been creating offense for himself and other people, it's really actually fun to watch. And him and Giannis in pick and roll, similar to Delly and Giannis last year in pick and roll, is our best form of offense. Because as good as Giannis is in isolation, which he, efficiency-wise might be the best in the league, he's even better cutting, right? And so Brogdon and Giannis on that kind of pick and roll is such a potent duo. It's really actually exciting if we lean into that, which I'm not sure we will. And then other things, I think the last few games, I've seen Giannis kind of take a back seat in the first quarter and part of the second, and kind of try to create for other people, which is fine, but you don't want to get in a hole early like we did, because it can kill the momentum for the rest of the game. Yeah. And I think that's a big part of what happened today, is Giannis finished the first quarter with 4 points and wasn't overly aggressive when he needed to be. He could have attacked on that Thies or Horford, whoever they put on him, whenever he wanted, and he didn't until it was too late.
No, he does seem a little bit more timid. I don't know how to put it, but he seems not as aggressive.
Yeah,
as what he used to.
I agree. And then Mirza, coming off the bench, wasn't great tonight. Monroe was aggressive tonight, sometimes over-aggressive, but I liked actually his performance. Yeah. I know a lot of people on Twitter were angry about his performance, but I think that in order for Greg Monroe to kind of get back into form, these are the kind of nights we're going to have. And I know I probably said that about Chris Middleton in episode 3 or whatever, but let's wait until...
It's still early.
It's very early.
This is the 5th game of the season still. So.
But then here's the other thing, is we talked last episode about 3 centers, how it's going to work. Henson has been the best center on the court this entire season. And it's been 5 games. It's a small sample size, but it's a 16th of the season that John Henson was the best center on the court. I think Thon came out with energy in the third.
He hit a 3, I think.
He did hit a 3. He was 1 for 3 in the third from deep. But it was weird, because as soon as he left the court, the energy died. And Jason Kidd is not very good at being able to ride the wave, if that makes sense. And also, I have another problem with Jason Kidd, and I know this probably sounds like it's rambling tonight. It's late. I'm sorry. But Jason Kidd tonight didn't know how to play to what his team needs. And what I mean by that is, if your team is struggling on offense and momentum-wise, it needs an energy boost, and you need a 2-guard to come in for Tony Snell because he's in foul trouble.
I was thinking Terry.
Why are you putting Liggins in? Terry's a great option for energy and offense. That's what I was thinking. Sterling Brown's a great option for energy and offense. Even though he's inactive, I would not have minded Rashad Vaughn, even though he's inactive and he couldn't play. I get it.
No, I was thinking I wanted Terry.
Because Liggins is great defensively.
Yeah.
But we weren't having a problem stopping the Celtics from scoring.
Not really,
They didn't even hit 100 points tonight.
No.
And if anyone, like Jaylen Brown was 0 for 8, I think, until the third quarter.
He shot 2 for 10 tonight, I think.
It was unbelievably bad of a night for Jaylen Brown. So why are you worrying about the 2
for 10?
Why are you worrying about guarding the 2-guard? Kyrie wasn't cooking yet either. So, we needed energy on offense, and Jason Kidd failed to provide that. I would have loved to see Sterling Brown out there tonight, but
I thought for sure we were going to see Terry tonight. But
I think the best word for this game is gross. I was uncomfortable watching the whole thing. It felt that was the worst game that we've played the whole season.
Yeah.
By far, by a landslide, and it was still winnable. And I think that's a tribute to how bad the Celtics are this year. And they're not bad; they're a playoff team, but how the gap between us and the Celtics is we had our worst night, and we could have absolutely taken that game from them.
They didn't have quite their best night either, though.
No, they didn't. So yeah, I mean, other stuff. Chuck talked at halftime about how it's important for us to get on the fast break as much as possible, and I think that's something I didn't notice the last two games is that
we're not a half-court team, really.
no, in the last two games where we didn't look great, we didn't look great against the Hornets, and we didn't look great tonight. We're not running in transition.
No.
At all. And I think that is an extremely important thing. And then the third quarter, when we came back out, we were more. I don't know if Jason Kidd listened to the halftime show or not, but I think that is really important for our offense now, especially with Giannis as fast and as athletic as he is. I mean, he's got to take these opportunities when he can. What else did you see there? What did you see while you were at the game? Anything that stuck out to you?
Well, rebounding issues again. A lot of second chance.
Tons of rebounding issues. I don't know if there is a solution, though.
But what was the rebounding tonight? 45-37, so yeah, we lost it, of course.
And then there's one thing I want to say about the fourth quarter. There's a play in the fourth quarter, and I don't know if you saw this, where Delly is in the court with Giannis, and this is a closer game than the finish, at least. A game that's still within reach, I think, with 5 minutes left. And Giannis asks Delly for the ball. He puts his hands out, asks him for the ball. Delly looks at him and denies him and tries to create offense himself, dribbles into a double team, and turns the ball over. That is unacceptable.
Yeah.
This is something that you and me talked about 2 years ago, or well, longer than that. But everyone wants to be the star on a good team, right? Everyone wants to take the game into their hands at the end. Very few people have that ability. You know?
Oh, yeah.
So give the ball to Giannis. If Chris Middleton's on the floor, I'm actually fine with Chris Middleton having the ball too, despite his struggles, because he knows, or he should know, how to handle a situation like that and let them do their thing, especially if they're calling for it. If Giannis is calling for the ball and Dellavedova, a backup point guard on a good Eastern Conference team, is not giving it to him, there's a problem. That is a real problem. And that can't fly on Giannis's team. It can't. And so I don't know if you'll ever see anything like that again, because I'm sure they'll talk after the game. But that is absolutely unacceptable, and I don't want to see anything like that ever again. But yeah, other than that, we just got out-hustled tonight. This is a hustle game. This is a game you win by just grinding it out, bearing
when
it.
Shots aren't falling, you gotta do something.
And we weren't hustling. No. And the Celtics in the fourth quarter were creating their offense a lot better, hustling up and down the floor. Jaylen Brown got 2 offensive rebounds over
I remember
John
that
Henson.
one drive. Yeah, one possession, I mean.
And so, it's just not acceptable. No. The way we played tonight is not acceptable, and kudos to the Celtics for grabbing the game when it was up for grabs.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis wasn't himself, but Tony Snell and Malcolm Brogdon, you can't rely on them to carry the offense. You can't. If you're Jason Kidd, you cannot put that on those 2 players. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. That's not a winning strategy. But I do want to take a look at Tony Snell's stats here before we get into anything crazy in the Celtics, which you'll tell us in a minute. Tony Snell, going into this game, I don't know the stats after this game, but going into this game, his usage rate only at 11.1%, which is right around where it was last year. But his true shooting is at 75%.
Ooh.
And the way he's been playing off the dribble is really an exciting kind of deal, and I wouldn't mind Jason Kidd giving him the kind of leeway to start trying to create offense on his own, because he's shown in little spurts that he can do it, and I'd love to see him actually get the opportunity to just run a second unit sometime. You know, the same way you would leave a Chris Middleton when you bring in Moose and everyone and have Middleton run the offense, do the same kind of deal. All right, so now, John, you want to talk about the Celtics and what you saw from the Celtics tonight?
Well, I thought Horford killed us to start. Inside and out, he hit 4 threes.
Right.
Yeah,
actually,
4 for 5 shooting.
Horford's someone that I look at in the matchup, and I'm like, you know what? I like Thon playing just because Big Al likes to sit out the 3-point line so much now.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that, that was a mistake on my part. That wasn't smart thinking.
Well, I thought Horford beat everyone in our position at center.
Right. And you know what really killed us is that run where he had 2 wide open corner threes.
Yeah, that didn't help.
I really don't like that as a returning problem for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, yeah, we got to.
It's killed us in so many games in the past.
Who was it that hit 2 big threes in the fourth? Was that Smart?
Yeah.
I think, that didn't help our case.
There was another play that I wouldn't mind talking about is it was either Brogdon or Dellavedova. I want to say it was Dellavedova. Had him down to 2 seconds in the shot clock. Marcus Smart at the right elbow past the three-point line.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he had him down to 2 seconds, and he just gave him maybe 4 feet to shoot a three.
I remember. Yeah.
And Marcus Smart's not a phenomenal three-point shooter and not even very good.
But
the fact that you're giving anyone with 2 seconds left 4 feet of space
down
to
on
shoot
a shot
over
clock, that's when you run out
ridiculous.
at a guy. Yeah.
Exactly. That's absolutely ridiculous, and it's not the way that you need to be playing in the fourth quarter of a winnable game. It's disgusting that you're down in.
Yeah. Well, I remember that play.
So what else? Who else stuck out to you? Kyrie played really well tonight.
Oh, his handles are out of this world. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Brogdon played really good.
Yeah,
but there were times when there was nothing.
There's nothing you can do at some points. Yeah.
So yeah, Kyrie played really well.
Those were the three main. I mean,
Jalen struggled.
Yes, he did. The Celtics didn't play great tonight.
No, I think Jason Tatum had a good game too. What was his stat line?
12 points, 3 or 6 shooting.
Okay, so it's a pretty normal night for Jason Tatum then.
Yeah, so he did fine.
My worry about the Celtics is if I was a Celtics fan is what is their bench? Terry Rozier. And that's kind of well. Marcus Smart comes off the bench now too. But yeah, I would be very worried if I was a Celtics fan about what you're gonna do to score on the bench. Sometimes, especially when Marcus Smart isn't hitting, which is gonna be a lot of nights.
Yeah. He didn't do anything until the fourth quarter, if I remember correctly.
Right, but it hurt in the fourth quarter.
Oh, it killed us. Yeah. But.
It hurt. So yeah, that's kind of my general thoughts in the game. We need to be more consistent offensively. We need to run more offensively.
Oh yeah, we still have a lot of.
We can't be stagnant like that.
A lot of dry spells the Bucks still have.
Yeah, I know, and I thought that was going to be something we could escape this year. But Chris Middleton has to find a way to not act the way he does. Giannis needs to take more of a leader approach, I think, in this game and get everyone energized, get everyone into the game. Because there were long stretches in this game.
It was too late.
Well, yeah, exactly. He did hit 2 threes, though, in the fourth.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool.
Went for another one, and yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, yeah, I think general takeaways are we can't play like that ever again.
Yeah, bottom line, just can't.
We can't come out. Well, here's the thing: is you're gonna have games where you're not hitting shots like we were.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have games where
long season.
Exactly. You're gonna have games where you don't like Jason Kidd's rotations. You can't come out with that kind of energy and expect to win any game ever. That was unacceptable from everyone involved, other than Malcolm Brogdon and Tony Snell, who got absolutely dicked on.
Which Snell got I think 4 fouls tonight, and they were early
and 3 of them were pretty. Early. 2 of them were early, and he got pulled out of the first. He didn't play any in the second, and then the third quarter when he came back in, he got
another
one.
Yeah. So that didn't help his case.
No, it didn't. So he had to play conservatively, and he didn't really get to play as much as usual. Anyway, did we have his minutes per game or his minutes tonight?
Yeah, 25, which I thought was.
It's low. He's usually low 30s.
I didn't even think he got to 25 tonight.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
I guess he did.
I think playing all of the fourth probably helped. But yeah, so overall, you have to come out and play harder than that.
Oh yeah.
Like end of story, show more effort because as a Bucks fan, I don't want to watch a game like that ever again.
No.
Especially that's what's so disappointing about the return of the Mecca because they nailed everything else.
Yeah.
Other than the performance by the team, we nailed everything else. The aesthetic, it was on national TV. Everything. The court looked great.
Start to everything about it was awesome except the game.
The experience is so good except for the game, and I feel bad that you went and spent all that time and wasted all the gas to go and see that. It sucks.
Oh, it's a stinger.
Okay, so around the web, I took this article from numbersfire.com. Giannis Antetokounmpo's insane start has him in elite company. This is the headline. This is by Russell Peddle. Is there any player in the NBA that is more aptly nicknamed than Giannis Antetokounmpo, who we've all come to know as the Greek Freak? And he's at it again this year. Here are his numbers. 4 games in the 2017-18 campaign. I'll flash the numbers on screen. Audio listeners, he's improved every year, as you know. This year is, other than assists, same story, except way up in points. And yeah, it's an interesting article to look at all the numbers because I think ESPN likes to talk about some of the numbers, but not all of them. So yeah, that's an interesting article. I don't know if there's a whole lot to talk about. We've talked to death about how good Giannis is this year and how much he's improved, even though we weren't sure he could improve any more than he already was.
22 years old.
Right, exactly. I mean, he hasn't probably maybe peaked yet. So it's really exciting to see. I encourage everyone to go look at the article. It's a cool article.
I love this chart.
Yeah, that was tweeted around before for a while too.
Oh yeah, it's there's two things I love about it. It's already freaky because it's a freaky deer, the tree, and the numbers are freaky.
So if you're listening in the audio podcast, this is the picture of the deer with all of Giannis' stats coming off the antlers. It doesn't matter; it's not a big deal. And then so the other article I wanted to talk about, John, you read this, right? The crossover, the scars that shaped Jabari Parker.
Yes. I've read both of these before. Yeah.
Okay. So this is by Rob Mahoney, The Scars That Shaped Jabari Parker. Jabari Parker's left knee reads like a distorted barcode. A long streak of fibrous tissue stretches straight down the middle, left behind from the first time Parker's ACL gave out. He was attacking the Suns in the open floor when a tragically ordinary step betrayed him. Nearly a year passed before Parker could return to game action. Other raised, darkened lines track parallel to that first scar but never meet it. They are distinct, born on an entirely different dribble drive Parker made against the Heat last season. After taking a long stride with the same left leg, Parker folded to the floor, clutching at the familiar point of disconnection. The same ACL had torn again. His season ended on the baseline. And this is just this is a really great article, which I would expect out of Rob Mahoney. Rob Mahoney is a great writer over at Sports Illustrated, and it just is kind of chronicling his life on and off the court and his rehab. And there's a great video that goes along with it that I will tweet out tomorrow when you're seeing this today when the show goes out. It's really it's a great piece by Sports Illustrated, and I think it's a really good look into Jabari Parker, who remains a kind of light in the darkness that would have been his career if he was anyone else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this other thing that I didn't say in the beginning, in the first part of the podcast, that I should have said. Eric Bledsoe looks so tantalizing right now. He looks...
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Oh, I want him so bad now.
But I saw the Suns, they want...
they want Brogdon, but they're not going to get him.
No,
they're in no position to argue.
No.
You know, they're going to have to take something.
How long can Bledsoe stay in Phoenix?
He sat out 2 games already, and they've won both of them.
Oh, really? I haven't paid attention. But.
So, yeah, I mean, he's on his way out as soon as they find an offer they like or one they don't like, but they just need to get rid of him. And I think that's the opportunity where maybe you get him for Henson, Rashad, and a first. I think that's totally possible because they need to dump Eric Bledsoe. And it looks like no one's willing to give him anything.
Well,
there were reports of Nuggets with